You either live in survival or you live in creation. And living in creation is such an elegant moment because you have to disconnect from everything known. And you have to get so present that time is no longer of the essence. You are in the eternal present moment. This is a flip, because when we're living by our senses in three-dimensional reality, this space-time continuum, there's an infinite amount of space. And with an infinite amount of space, I'm local. I have a body, I'm local in space and time, and then I want to move from here to the door. At one point of awareness, Joe Dispenza, my other point of awareness, the door. So in order for me to go from here to the door, I got to move my body through space, and guess what? That takes time. So if I'm creating matter to matter, here's me, Joe Dispenza, where's my dream? Way over there. Why is it way over there? Because my brain is automatically estimating how long I'm going to have to work and go back and forth to work, and it's going to take time, and it's going to take energy to finally manifest that home or that car or whatever, and you're going to have to work hard, or you're going to rush faster to get it done. And when you finally pay off that house or whatever, you're too tired, too exhausted to enjoy it. When you pass through the eye of the needle into the quantum and you enter that realm of time-space, it's a different world. There's an infinite amount of time. Time is eternal. There's an infinite amount. Now think about this. How much could we get done if we had an infinite amount of time? And in the realm of time-space, there's no past, there is no future. It's all happening now. And so there's no past lives or future lives. They're stacked on top of each other. And as we move through time, as we time travel, we experience dimensions or spaces. And we have all the latent systems in the brain once activated to open the door to that dimension. And it only takes one experience of entering that place that you cannot see the world the same way again. When you see a person who is blind because of a stroke and is told they'll never heal from that stroke, I mean, after 2 weeks, if it doesn't heal, you'll normally have to live with it, and loses her job, can't drive, she's clinically blind. I'm not the person that is going to tell her, you can absolutely heal this. She has to come to that understanding on her own. So people, many times when they gather knowledge and information, the information causes them to become conscious of what they were once unconscious to. And when you have a greater level of consciousness, you see possibilities. And in a sense, you're energized by information. You're enlightened, you're filled with light in some way, and you see possibilities that you haven't seen before. Now, getting beyond the analytical mind is one of the main purposes of meditation. And I can tell you that the analytical mind is always going to talk us out of possibility because it is fascinated on trying to predict what's going to happen next. So if you can predict your future, then you're laying a known on an unknown. And this is a habit we have because the brain is an anticipation machine. So there's many different obstacles and resistances that come with a persistent disbelief that has been programmed over and over again. I mean, I don't watch television, but I've watched it because of what's happening in the world. And I am so insulted by television commercials. I can't believe people would sit there and allow that information to program them, some drug to make them feel a certain way, some look, some whatever. You don't think that has profound effects on programming a person into limitation? When I wrote the book, You Are the Placebo, I was so angry at myself for 2 weeks. I was so frustrated with myself because I bought the program. People believe they need a flu shot because they don't believe their body's innate capacity to heal. 4 days teaching people how to elevate their state increased immunoglobulin A in our research by 50%. Immunoglobulin A is your body's primary defense against bacteria and viruses. It's better than the flu shot. It's better than a flu shot. But that's not the information that people get. So there's a layer of programming that's happening. And the beauty behind all of this is nobody's buying information any longer. I love it. And I'm not prone to believe that guy in that tube telling me the way it is, and nobody should. And more people then, as they start to wake up to information, there's a change in energy. Because change in consciousness requires a change in energy. And now, a greater energy causes systems that were once stable to become unstable, to become chaotic. And chaos is just unpredictable order. It's novelty, it's newness, it's an unraveling of systems. So hang on. This is a really profound time because it's got to break. And when it breaks, something better come out of it. And it's not going to be governments and politicians and religious figures and whatever leading the way. There is no one leader. Everybody's got to lead. Just like those birds that move in one direction, or those fish that are all in a school and they're moving together to give the appearance of something bigger to predators. You study that principle in biology. It's called emergence. You think that there's one leader that everybody's following. Everybody's leading. And there's a stigma we have in our minds that if you lead with too much passion in your life, you're going to lose your life. Whether you're Martin Luther King or William Wallace or Joan of Arc or Abraham Lincoln, you're going to get it. And that stigma is branded in people's minds for a reason. But this is a time in history to not die for the truth. This is a time in history to live for the truth. And if you're working on your anger and frustration, and I'm working on my fear and anxiety and my judgment, and I'm taking care of me, and you emerge in that heart of yours, and I emerge in that heart, we are going to be like-minded. We're going to be connected by that invisible field. Now everybody's leading, and you just can't take out everybody now. So we can't wait for anybody else to take care of us. This is the fundamental time where something greater's got to grip us. Something greater. And if I see you demonstrating courage, I'm gonna jump in. And all of this craziness that's going on is an important time. But when we stop doing all those things and reacting, and we start going, hey, what do you do? Oh, you're a solar panel guy? Oh, I'm a teacher. Oh, you're a doctor? Let's get together and let's start figuring out how to coexist. Oh, you're brown? I'm white? You're black? Who cares? That's the costume you're wearing to the masquerade. I celebrate your uniqueness. I'm weird too. And we're all like that. So the biggest lie is that kind of a way to create separation amongst people for the simple reason to disempower them into limitation, because now they're more dependent on pharmaceutical companies. They're more dependent on religion. They're more dependent on whatever it is that they need out there. But how can you give someone a sugar pill, a saline injection, perform some false surgery or procedure, and a certain percentage of those people will accept, believe, and surrender to the thought that they're getting an actual substance or treatment, and they begin to program their autonomic nervous system to make the exact pharmacy of chemicals equal to the substance they think they're taking. Now, is it the inert substance that's doing the healing, or is it the body's innate capacity to heal? Because that sugar pill represents, it is a symbol of possibility. And you hand that person that pill, and they begin to select a new potential in the quantum field called, this could actually work. And if the doctor's enthusiastic, it'll work better. And if you name it something they can't pronounce, it'll work even better. And if you charge a lot more money for it, it'll work even better. And you make it sound like something that it can do for you, it'll work even better. Viagra, Niagara, that's a lot of flow. It's subconscious cues. So then, in the studies on depression, in the studies on pain relief, those people were making their own pharmacy of antidepressants, their own pharmacy of morphine. They were checking the receptor sites on the outside of the cells, and their body was making morphine. So then, do you need the sugar pill? Do you need the saline injection? Do you need to perform some false surgery or procedure? Because all they're doing is marrying a clear intention with the elevated emotion of optimism, of possibility, of inspiration. They're changing their state of being. All right, so the depression studies took 8 weeks, giving the person the pill every day. Most of them thought they were getting the actual substance because they felt so much better. The brain scans showed that they were better. They were getting the placebo. They went back to the researchers and said, I'm sorry, you must have given me the real medication. No, we gave you the placebo. That's how much better they felt. It wasn't one day. They didn't take it once and say, I'm better. He took it for 6 weeks. So then people are so entitled to thinking that the moment they press on their cell phone, they get answers and information. It's not how it works. This is a practice. Every day, changing your state of being. Doing it for 8 weeks without a sugar pill. Just marrying a clear intention and elevated emotion, changing your state of being without any exogenous substance. Sooner or later, you start feeling good. You practice feeling good every day for 8 weeks, you're going to start feeling good. It's just going to be the side effect. It just makes sense. Let's go back to the person who breaks through and stands on the stage that had metastatic carcinoma from breast cancer. Cancer spread throughout her entire body. All she wanted to do was be able to pray again. Her father dragged her to the event. And all she wanted to do was be able to get on her knees and pray. She's a young girl. Couldn't bend over, couldn't walk. She was in so much pain because the cancer was spread through all of her spine. One moment, she was on the stage, couldn't feel any pain in her body, sobbing in tears. I sent her for a PET scan. Not an ounce of cancer in her bones. Where did it go? I mean, what happened there? You see that person on the stage, and our community gets closer. You get people opening their heart. Love bonds. You can't not bond in love. You have to hug. You have to connect. You have to bond. It's whether you're a man hugging a man, a woman hugging a woman, a man hugging a woman. Something happens where we are connecting. And so when you see that person, the first one, stand on the stage and tell that story, just like an infection can spread amongst the community and create disease, all of a sudden health and wellness are as infectious as disease. And I just say to my staff, get out of the way. 4 people with Raynaud's syndrome in one event, all healed. 2 people with Parkinson's, psychiatrist and another lady allergic to everything in her life. She came with a ventilator and a mask. And in the middle of the event, she's in front of the room dancing around, no mask, no nothing. And you start seeing people freeing themselves from their own limitations. The energy in the room, it's not just the energy in the room. It's the coherence in the room. Because if your heart is coherent, and I'm sitting right next to you, and my field is coherent, and I'm interfering with your field, and those 2 fields come together, the union of those 2 fields, the interference is going to create a higher wave. Higher wave, higher energy. Now there's energy in the room for healing. Now there's energy in the room for the mystical, and the interference starts creating doors. Interference patterns of fractal geometry that are doors to dimensions. And you tell me then, you get a group of people, 1,000 people in a room. You have 50 people in the front of the room wearing a heart rate monitor. By the middle of the event, everybody is locked into their heart. They know how to execute. And I say, get in that heart of yours, and on that energy, lay the thought that the people in the front of the room, on that energy, that their lives be enriched, that their bodies be healed, that their dreams come true. And you explain to me then how all those people in the front of the room, the majority of those people go into heart coherence at the exact same time, the exact same day, and the exact same meditation. They're influencing their autonomic nervous system. The collective is entraining them into the same frequency. And what is that frequency? Love, gratitude, hopefulness for the greatest good. And so then, the collective then moves as one mind, as one heart. And the collective begins to entrain the weak. The collective begins to care for the other ones that are falling behind, not because they want to run to their dream, but because they want to help people realize their dream, because that's important to them. It's just, you can't not care. You can't not be present. You can't not be kind. And you see a man show up in a wheelchair from a stroke, completely disabled. His daughter wheeled him around that whole event. And he had a profound moment the very last day. And he went back, she wheeled him into the house, he could walk. He got up in the morning, he showered for the first time in 10 years, got dressed, walked. His wife was having breakfast. He walked down to the to the store, to the restaurant, and asked if he could sit down and have breakfast. She went absolutely crazy. To me, I don't know, that's better than a sports car. That feeling to me is worth all the gold in the world. So we have people now that I have witnessed so many profound healings where people are healing other people because they know how to administer coherence and change the field of the person laying before them. They understand the science, the quantum physics. They understand all what they're doing and why they're doing it. And then all of a sudden, they're healing all these people in our events. Tumors disappearing, people stepping out of wheelchairs, crazy, blind people seeing, deaf people hearing, crazy stuff. This is biblical proportion stuff. And now they're doing it non-locally because they can't be together, but they understand in the quantum there's no separation. They can do it without being there. And they're not doing it. I've dropped in on these calls. They're not doing it because they want to hang a shingle on their door saying I'm a healer. In fact, they got to get beyond that in order to heal. They got to get beyond that identity. They're doing it because they're healing themselves every time they connect to love. And so, that person then, whose daughter was riddled with a brain injury from a child, that never looked at her brothers, never was present, never could talk, was still and frozen, who's now looking at her brothers and laughing and hugging them and smiling and trying to talk. We're on the call with 50 people and 2 scientists from a prestigious university, and this woman is telling the story, and everybody is sobbing. Everybody is sobbing. Why? We contribute to the living organism. You made a difference. You changed somebody's life. That's why we do it, for that feeling. You keep doing it. That's going to be a common feeling. You're going to get really sensitive to some energy, to some feeling. That's what it's about. People try to work their whole week in opening their heart at a week-long event. Comes time to heal another person. Now it's no longer about them. And they get it. They get it. All they had to do was open their heart for somebody else. That's how it opens.